One of my favourite things when making videos is learning some useless yet interesting knowledge that other people might not know about, then sharing it with others. And when it comes to the topic of Pokemon, that happens quite a lot. So much so that I'm able to share even more useless facts with you all about the Pokemon franchise. Maybe some of this information will come in handy one day, but chances are it won't. So at the very least, hopefully you'll enjoy learning some of this knowledge, until you eventually forget it of course. Here are 20 more pretty much completely useless facts about Pokemon that you'll hopefully find interesting anyway, if you didn't already know about them. We all know that some Pokemon have counterparts, obvious ones being Plus or Minun, Volbeat and Illumise, and pretty much any box legendary. However, there are some not so well known Pokemon counterparts, for example, Sableye and Mawile. These two are considered counterparts as they're each version exclusives in games like Ruby and Sapphire, their remakes, and even Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They also have the same stat totals, and both received Mega Evolutions, even if they've received Megas at different times. Then there are Pokemon whose counterparts changed after a generation. Pinsir and Scizor were Gen 1 counterparts, but Heracross is now considered more of Pinsir's counterpart after Scizor received an evolution, while Pinsir received nothing. Similar to how Electabuzz, Magmar, and Jynx were considered their own trio at one point, being next to each other in the dex, including their pre-evolutions. However, this trio changed into more of a duo in Gen 4, when Game Freak decided they didn't want to draw any more attention to Jynx. A good call in their end, to be honest. It's pretty common knowledge that Ash from the anime was named after the creator of Pokemon, Satoshi Tajiri, with his Japanese name being Satoshi. But did you know there is another character in the anime who is named after a real-life person? Ash's early rival we all know as Gary. In Japan, however, his name is Shigeru, deriving from, of course, the man behind Super Mario and The Legend of Zelda, Shigeru Miyamoto. Yeah, I know that some people watching will already know this, but I only found out recently and it kinda blew my mind. Apart from Pikachu and Meowth, the Pokemon that has appeared the most in the Pokemon anime is Wobbuffet. Who would have thought that the one Pokemon that Jessie accidentally traded away for her Lickitung would have become a staple in the Pokemon anime? The Poké-Up includes every Generation 1 Pokemon.
Or does it?
There is actually one Kanto Pokemon missing from the Kanto Poké-Up, that Pokemon being Mew. This is because the Poké-Up was made before Mew's announcement outside of Japan, even though the wrap contains Mewtwo. I still find it weird that Mewtwo comes in the dex before Mew. Hitmonchan's Pokedex number is 107. Yeah, that's it. That's the useless fact. However, it is possible that Hitmonchan's dex number is 107 because Ludomac from the Punch-Out series weighed 107 pounds. Coincidental? Probably, but it'd be a pretty cool nod if it was on purpose. Here is an Electabuzz. They have 5 fingers on each hand. But did you know that in Pokemon Stadium, Electabuzz actually had 6 fingers on each hand? Mind-blowing, I know. Makes you wonder if the Stadium Electabuzz killed anyone's father lately.
Well spoken, sir. What is it?
You have 6 fingers on your right hand. Someone was looking for you.
Sawsbuck, as we all know, has the gimmick of appearing slightly different depending on the season. However, something about this Pokemon I found out recently blew my mind. If you take the Saws in Sawsbuck name, you have an anagram for summer, autumn, winter, and spring. Like I said before, some people are already bound to know this. But again, I only found out recently, and I kicked myself for not knowing sooner. In Generation 2, IVs worked quite differently, being called DVs instead. And these were one of the factors that determined whether a Pokemon was shiny or not. So because of this, in Gen 2, only unknown I and V can be shiny, since unknown's letters back then were determined by its IVs. Pretty interesting how the only unknown you can get shiny back then just so happened to be these two. There is indeed a Mega Yanma, being Yanmega. This is because Yanmega's Japanese name just so happens to be Mega Yanma. Is this the reason why Yanmega hasn't received a Mega Evolution? Probably not, but the name Mega Yanma would have sounded a bit off if it was. The Pokemon anime has been going on for a long time now, pretty much since Pokemon first started, as an April Fool's joke apparently as well. So given that there are over 1,000 episodes of the anime so far, if you were to watch every episode, it would take you around 340 hours or just over 14 days to complete them all. So give 2 weeks and you could possibly catch up with every series so far, given that you choose not to sleep or take breaks, which doesn't sound healthy at all. If you include the movies and any specials to do with the anime, the time goes up to around 400 hours or almost 17 days. So if you're planning to have a really lazy month, you could potentially waste your time just watching Pokemon until you've caught up. Definitely not the smartest idea, but it's something to do, I guess. Speaking of the Pokemon anime, almost every gym leader has made at least one appearance in the Pokemon anime. Almost. Can you work out which gym leader hasn't? Not including Blue, of course, since that's who Gary is based off. Well, the only gym leader that is yet to make an anime appearance is Janine, Koga's daughter. Will she ever make an anime appearance? Probably not anytime soon, but I'm pretty certain that Pokemon hasn't forgot about her at all. This is the Dream World art for Toxicroak. Does it look a little off to you? Well, here is both a regular and a shiny Toxicroak. Yep, the Dream World Toxicroak looks a lot more like a shiny than a regular one. So much so that when I made my opinion on every shiny video, I had to make a regular version of the Dream World art, since again this is pretty much a shiny one. This is also the case for the anime, leaving some people to speculate whether the Toxicroak shown in the anime are shiny. In fact, there's been multiple Pokemon in the anime that are questioned whether they're shiny or not. Giovanni's Persian are argued by some if they're the shiny versions, as well as the Jigglypuff from earlier Smash Bros. Games. This is almost definitely a coincidence, but still something fun to speculate about. Toxicroak isn't the only one whose colorations have been questioned. Let's test your Pokemon colour knowledge a little bit. Which of these Croagunt's colours are correct? Are the cheeks pinkish red or orange? Well, the correct answer is... they're technically both correct. Croagunt's cheeks and fingers were pink or red in Gen 4 and the Gen 5 main series games, but were changed to orange elsewhere like in the anime and side games. Its colours have officially been changed, so the cheeks and fingers are now orange. But, not gonna lie, I think I slightly prefer the original look. Pikachu is the mascot of Pokemon. And Pikachu was also the mascot for Japan in the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Of all the fictional Japanese characters, Japan chose Pokemon's mascot. That is pretty awesome. Too bad the actual tournament didn't go so well for Japan. The Zoroark in the Gen 5 games can illusion itself to become a shiny. However, it most likely won't be shiny itself. That's because Zoroark and its illusion both have their own chances to be shiny. So if you were insane enough to try and get both the illusion and the Zoroark to be shiny, your odds for that are around 1 out of 67,108,864. Definitely not worth doing, but if it ever happens to you, consider yourself possibly the luckiest Pokemon player in the world. Pokemon cries have been a staple of the Pokemon main series games. However, out of all the cries from Generation 1, of the 151 Pokemon, there are actually only around 37 different cries, with some being the same with just a slight pitch or speed difference, or some being exactly the f***ing same. It didn't really get much better in Gen 2 when there were only around 30 unique cries that were added. So yeah, not much originality when it came to the sounds that Pokemon made back in the day. Croconaw is yet another Pokemon that went through a little bit of a change appearance-wise. In the Gen 2 games, the yellow pattern on Croconaw's body went over its left shoulder, but after this, the pattern seemed to flip, and now it goes over the right shoulder instead. I don't know why this change was made, but it was, I guess. The Pokedex lists Pokemon by colours, these colours being red, blue, yellow, green, black, brown, purple, grey, white, or pink. Some Pokemon match their colours perfectly, however some of them are pretty questionable. Some examples being Fennekin, who's mainly yellow, being listed as red, Snorlax being listed as black, and Excadrill being grey instead of brown. Now obviously each Pokemon can only be given one colour despite having multiple, but some of these colour choices are pretty questionable, when there's another colour that obviously suits the Pokemon a lot more. Pokémon is officially the highest grossing media franchise of all time. Mainly thanks to Pokémon Go, but still, Pokémon is number one. Now Mario is still the best selling video game series of all time, with Pokémon coming in second. But when it comes to making money, Pokémon has everyone else beat. Also fun fact, the second highest grossing media franchise of all time is Hello Kitty, followed by Star Wars, Mickey Mouse, Mario, Harry Potter, etc. So yeah, Pokémon is number one. Probably not the most useless fact on the list, but I can't really see it helping you out anytime soon. So, do you remember that song at the end of the first Pokémon movie?
No one knew that all the tears in heaven would bring me back.
I sure do. Well, do you know who sings that song? If you didn't know, get this. The person who sings the song that plays at the end of the first Pokémon movie is Christina Aguilera. Yeah, in fact there were a few recognisable names on the Pokémon first movie soundtrack, including Britney Spears, NSYNC, Billie Piper, and 1/5 of the Spice Girls. Those are some pretty big names for the first Pokémon movie, which came out more or less 20 years before Pokémon became the highest grossing media franchise of all time. Still, I was pretty shocked when I found out some of these artists made songs for the movie, especially before Pokémon became the gigantic franchise it is now. And there you are, 20 more useless facts about Pokémon you might find interesting and probably will forget tomorrow. If you for whatever reason didn't see the first 20 useless facts video and want to learn some more useless information about Pokémon, feel free to check out the first part. And considering that Pokémon isn't going away anytime soon, there is a very good chance that I'll learn some even more useless information about Pokémon that hopefully I'll be able to share with you all eventually. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more Pokémon videos in the future, and until next time, thank you so much for watching.